let's go to the phones. Let's go to Andre in Annandale, Virginia. Andre, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Chris.
Hey.
Again, great show and a great get with the president the other day. It was real nice to see you on national TV, or at least hear you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, you've mentioned the last couple of days talking about the San Francisco 49ers, and especially against the Redskins. You went to that game, and you witnessed a phenomena that I've been kind of tracking. And it all started when Colin Kaepernick took a knee in August 2016. And ever since that moment, out of 22 games, regular season games the San Francisco 49ers have played, they've only won 2. And so the winning percentage is incredibly low. And he inspired, Colin Kaepernick inspired kind of a social justice warrior campaign against my son's high school, where they were convinced by the local NAACP chapter to take a knee. And we've talked about this before. My son goes to a Confederate named Jeff Stewart High School here in Northern Virginia. Mm-hmm. Our football team had been on a very strong winning streak going into the game, where some of the players and the cheerleaders took a knee. And that game became the biggest blowout they had all season. They lost something to the tune of 49-6, a devastating loss, and the offense and defense were just paralyzed. But that continued for the rest of the football season. They lost all the remaining games. And so these trends got me thinking, and I started looking at some of the teams that I'd been interested in before. For instance, the Oakland Raiders. I happened to be at a game during Week 3 at Oakland Stadium. The Raiders were undefeated. They hosted the Jets, and they annihilated the Jets. Marshawn Lynch was on fire. Offense and defense for the Oakland Raiders was just out of control, and they were going in to play the Redskins the very next week. And the very next week they show up against the Redskins. Dan Snyder and the team of Redskins stood locked arms, whereas almost all the Raiders took a knee. And that very game, the Raiders, coming in as 3-point favorites, got blown out. And they've lost every game since then as well. And so looking at the high school and the professional phenomena of what happens to the brain, a player's brain, when they go from a winning mentality to one that kind of embraces victimhood.
Very interesting. Oh, it's that's very. I'm listening. I'm thinking, the stats, and that's interesting. But now you just hit on something that really got me interested, and that's the psychology of victimhood.
Victimhood. And I've published some of my research on a magazine called Personal Liberty, and you can find it under NFL Protest Culture. But it gets at the intrinsic versus extrinsic winning attitude versus victim attitude, and it affects different parts of your brain.
Wow. I like this.
It really does. It impacts the motor skills, first and foremost, of the forelobe. And when a player takes on like a cognitive dissonance, a mindset, if they truly don't believe in what they're doing, and we know that I think at least half the NFL players have an arrest record. So it triggers an emotional reaction oftentimes, and also a victim mentality, and they go into a game not with a winning attitude, but if they truly get into this protest, they're way off their game. Now, if you look at what happened with the German soccer team, the first European sports team to take a knee last Saturday, I went ahead and looked them up with my theory in mind, and sure as hell, that team suffered their biggest loss of the season.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I looked at...
All right, where did you write this? Where on the Internet is this?
It's at Personal Liberty, and it's called The NFL Protest Culture Warriors Are at Risk. And I suggest Vegas odds makers ought to look at this. It's like the movie Moneyball. There should be a new category called cognitive dissonance or victim mentality category, because you can start to bank on this.
Well, that is very good. You don't go in with your game face on. You don't go in ferocious and, eyes bugging out like Mike Singletary and getting ready with your teammates to get into the game, and you're focused on the end zone and you're focused on getting points. No, you're focused on being a wussy and a liar, and you're confused by the politics of the Democratic Party. This is about, like, disparity between men and women in pay in the Obama White House, and it's about getting Colin Kaepernick a new job, and you're right, their mind is on everything but the game, and the mentality changes. It's like a light switch. You go from being a ferocious super athlete to being a whining biatch that's just moaning about everything, and it destroys your mindset. I like it. That is genius.
I'll tell you, it's a whole lifetime of training these players have their whole life, and if they've had good coaching, obviously most of them have had very good coaching, the coach has told them their whole life is you've got to be a winner. You've got to act and think aggressively and take control and be a winner and dominate. And yet now this movement's telling them to become victim-like, and it takes a different part of the mind to take on that mentality. Now, think about, in a strategic sense, the whole Democrat Party kind of taken in a knee several years ago, right, where they all became the promoters of victimhood.
You're a genius.
What has happened to their win-loss record since then? Look at the state houses, the president, the Congress, the Senate.
Wow.
Look what happened.
You've cracked the political nut of the century, I think.
There is a lot to this. I am writing an update today, and it'll probably be published tomorrow in the same online.
Andre, Personal Liberty, we look at it, personalliberty.com.
Personalliberty.com. And I wrote, my original piece was published September 29th. And again, the publishers are waiting for my update.
I love it.
More data.
Andre, that's great. What a great call. I was very eye-opening. I like that. I like that analysis. Very, very, very interesting. Andre, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
You bet, Chris. Thanks.
All right, thanks. You know, this Chelsea Handler person.